Okay, give us your take on the officer that wrote into you about regretting a traffic stop.
Okay, so I had an officer send me a message about making contact with a guy, couldn't figure out who he was getting false information, ran him every which way, exhausted everything he had, cut him loose, knew he was a bad guy, felt like he was a bad guy, even got on the interstate or the highway and went the opposite direction of where he said he was going. And he said he just can't, it's bugging him and he just can't get over it. Well, and I kind of answered it for him, and told him, but here's the deal. You have carrying around regret on something that you can't control. As long as you did your due diligence, you did all the checks, you did everything you can, and you exhausted everything you had, there's no reason to ever have regrets. I understand that the guy could have gone on, something could have happened, but you did all you could within your power at that time. You can't go around violating people's rights. We know that. You can only do so much. Getting the identity is important, and there are some things you can do, and maybe an older officer could, go some different routes with what happened, but don't have regrets. Regrets is like carrying around a sack of rocks all the time. You just got to let them go and drop it. You did your job. And I just want to tell you a quick story. I was new. I probably hadn't been on my own for 2 months. I was out on I-35 working radar at I-35 at the 170 mile marker, and I checked a car and it had a couple of semis behind him, and I could hear him on the CB talking about his car's hauling ass, this and that. I end up getting a car. I get a pretty good speed on him, get him stopped, and it's a girl, and she is just crying. I was not speeding, crying, whatever. I write her a $150, $170 ticket, but something in my mind kept saying, I think you were picking up that semi. I believe that my radar was picking up that semi, and it kept going over in my head. And she kind of pissed me off. One thing led to another. She gets a ticket. I went home that night and I could not sleep because I started thinking, regret was seeping in and thinking, I don't know if she was the one speeding. I think I was picking up that semi. So I went to the court clerk's office the next day, had the citation dismissed, had him send her a message or a letter saying it's been dismissed. But here's the deal with regret. If you exhausted everything you had, you did your job, you move on. In my situation, I regretted something that I had control over, and I was able to make it right in that particular instance. So don't ever have regrets. However, here's the cautionary part of that. Make sure you work your tail off. You go to every dead end. You do everything it takes to make sure you never have a regret. If you leave a stone unturned, or you kind of half-ass a traffic stop, or you half-ass an investigation and cut them loose, then yeah, you ought to have a little bit of regrets. Do your job. It's real easy to make an extra call, do a couple of extra checks. So no regrets. But what you did, my brother, everything you sent me, you did nothing wrong. No reason to have any regrets. Sleep good at night.